Welcome to the MinistryCOM Webcast. We've got Bruce Herwig here today with Trinity Church in Redlands, California. Good to have you with us, Bruce.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Now tell us a little bit, what do you do there at Trinity and how long have you been there?
I'm the pastor of communications, and I've been there for 4 years, starting number 5.
Very good. Good. And you got a staff of what?
18 pastors, dozen admins, pretty good sized staff.
Okay, good. Now you got a top 10 list that you brought for us. What's your top 10 list about?
I did. Top 10 list of what pastors need to know about working with the communications department.
Okay, this will be fun. Go ahead, share with us your top 10 list here.
All right, we're just like Letterman. We're going to start with number 10.
Okay.
Communication needs of a first-time event are different than a repeatable event. So let's say that we've got the women's Christmas tea and they've done it for years. I only need to know a certain amount of information. Mm-hmm. But if you're going to pop in a brand new type of event that we've never done before, we've got to start earlier, we've got to sit down and talk more, and we've got to make sure that we're on the same page, because sometimes we're going to see things that you don't see from a communication standpoint.
Right. It seems pretty obvious, but I know a lot of church staffs, that's really kind of a surprise there.
Well, people
I can't tell you today about tomorrow's event.
Yeah, we don't work far enough ahead, and if it's all last minute, you're just setting yourself up for failure and frustration, especially for both sides.
Right. Okay. Great.
Number 9, if you feel strongly about something, let me know. But you can't have everything important to you. So if we're not doing something in a certain way, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'll ask you, on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel? Mm-hmm. Well, if I'll give you my opinion, but if it's only a 2, and you're a 7, well, then we'll do it your way. But if you feel strongly, let me know, because sometimes we just do something because it's expedient or it's easier on our department, on our staff. Right. But if it's easier for you, have at it.
Cool.
Number 8, information sooner is better than information later. The lack of planning on your part doesn't mean and constitute an emergency on my part. And that, I think, goes without saying.
Yes.
In theory, we should have our information. Everybody has their own workflow, and it should all work out. But dropping in stuff last minute, it doesn't help. You're just, again, setting yourself up for bad graphics, poor or miscommunication, and you end up typically making typos and you miss stuff. That's last minute rush. It comes with part of the territory. Yeah.
Yes. I've seen people come in and say, well, this stuff over here looks so much better. It's like, well, because they gave us a lot more advance notice. We had time to think about it. Your stuff came in yesterday, and we only had a few hours to work on it.
Yeah, creativity oftentimes it has to sit and stew. Mm-hmm. You've got to let it sit and process, and do draft 1, draft 2, and then get more eyeballs on it. The better. Mm-hmm. So that's part of it. Number 7, if you're not lobbying for your ministry to be promoted, who is? I can only be as excited about your event as you are. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And well, how come you didn't put this in the front spot on the worship folder? Well, you didn't ask me to.
Right.
Give me permission to say no. Mm-hmm. But you should, if somebody's not bugging me, they're not doing their job.
Yeah, they've got to be cheerleaders for their own ministries.
Exactly, and that will help. If there's this one or this one, and it is the squeaky wheel that sometimes gets the grease. Number 6, if you can't describe your event, neither can I. And so many times somebody, they have this great idea in their mind, and they're not able to translate that out for, okay, now, where is it? What is it? What are you doing? Right. Well, it's going to be great. Well, what is it?
Yeah.
And we find that a lot. And again, that's part of if you can get to your communications team early and walk through that process. And if don't get stuck on a name so early, if you can help it, please don't come to me with a name already in existence that you're 100% stuck on. Sometimes through that interview process, we can help rename the event so it's much clearer, easier to communicate, and much more exciting than what you had, the great idea you had in the shower.
Yeah. Well, just having that second set of eyes and ears on a project often helps clarify. When you're working on stuff yourself, you have all these assumptions that you already know, and when you get someone else in there who can then ask dumb questions like, why would they want to do that? That helps clarify it.
It does.
Yeah.
If you've read the book Made to Stick by Chip and Dan Heath, I'd highly recommend it. But they talk about the curse of knowledge.
Okay.
Where you know about it and you assume that somebody else knows about it.
Right.
And they don't. It's kind of like the new person at your church.
Yeah.
They don't know what you're talking about. And you have to be able to speak and communicate clearly. If you aim at them, you'll hit everybody else.
Right. That's good.
If you have an idea on how you want something to look, bring samples. Something to point at, something to see is just so helpful in the creative process. And if you don't, give us a little bit of flexibility in terms of not. But if you know, hey, I want it to look like X, Y, and Z, bring that in.
Bring samples, yeah.
Samples help. And that's samples help. Number 4, the best way to catch a typo is to print 1,000 of them.
Been there, done that.
So sorry. As many eyeballs on as you can. I mean, we have processes, we have editors, and we have people that look at it. No matter how well you run that process, until you print 1,000, unfortunately, you won't catch it. And if you really want to find some, print 10,000, and then you'll really find out in a hurry. Yes. Sorry, it's the nature of the beast.
Yes.
Number 3, the earlier I can be on the planning process, the better. If we can sit down early on, I tell my pastors, I can do more 20 minutes sitting right next to each other on the computer looking at iStock or InDesign or whatever we're working on than a half an hour or days emailing back and forth. So get us in early, get us in often, and let's just bang this out right now so we can get all those questions out up front. It makes the process so much smoother. We can set expectations in terms of time frame, and that's part of the big part of the. Oh, I thought we were going to have that here. No, I didn't. Did I say that?
Right.
It's if we can clearly, if I don't ask for quantity. And if I don't ask for date, if you don't give me these things, we're just talking about a theoretical idea, which brings me to number 2. Never assume that just because we did this last year, that it will automatically be done this year.
Right.
That whatever process you have for requesting, graphics and events, make sure that we're in that loop and that that. Yes, that we've given the eyeball to eyeball. Yes, we will commit to do that. And usually that commitment process happens when we get a date. Once I get a date and quantity, then we're on board, and we will make that. I don't like missing dates. We will hit that date. Hopefully earlier, but give me a drop dead.
Right.
Yeah, and on that. Number 1, the most important thing I think that staff needs to know. The little tiny web graphics that you pulled off the web will not work in your design.
You can't blow those up and put them in the printer?
No, I mean, it looks really great on screen. It'll print really well at about postage size.
Right.
It won't blow up. We can't use this as our main campaign for our billboards and our banners and it won't work most of the time. Every once in a while, but please get us in early. And there's also something about creative continuity. That little graphic, it works great independently by itself. But there's more we're looking at a look and feel. We're looking at more than just that one piece individually. So again, if we've got time, if we've got process, if we've got communication, if we're early enough on, we can find something that we both agree upon that will really work well, that will look great, and that will help communicate and promote your event.
Yeah, and those keys are, getting in early, and the more you can explain to the team, the more they can work with you. Often they can give you better ideas than you had to come in with.
Yeah, and I've got a great team. Allison Anderson, she's my designer. Donna Walker, she works on our editing and our print coordinator. And between the three of us, and you throw in a couple of pastors, watch out. Things are good.
Yeah. Well, great. Well, Bruce, thank you for sharing this with us. I think you got some good stuff here that'll help maybe help focus some staffs on some of the key factors to help, make these things more effective and make it easier to work with the team and ultimately make the teams able to be more effective and do a better job.
Yeah. Now, if only my pastors would listen to me.
Thank you very much.